This game came down to which team would capitalize on the other team's mistakes. Which team didn't got the breaks? Well, we didn't get enough of the breaks to win this game, and we lost. Plain and simple. The offensive line, I told you this, I know Dak has a tendency to hold on to the football, but the offensive line was still struggling. Terrence Steele was trash today. He was terrible. He was getting beat all night long, and we didn't add any sort of protection to help out Dak Prescott. That goes back to coaching. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, Dak, he didn't come through when it mattered, and he didn't. At the end of the day, he didn't. But he still had a decent game. He had a good game. But, true, he did not come through when it mattered the most. But he did have a good game. This game isn't on him, really. This game really just came down to coaching mistakes. We had so many penalties. Now, the Eagles had a lot of penalties. They almost blew the game at the end, too, giving us a gift. And we shot ourselves in the foot. The Eagles, I'm not impressed with their coaching staff, but as bad as their coaching staff was in this game, our coaching staff was just worse, and that's why they won. The offense looked good at times, but then they bogged down when it mattered most. Obviously, people are saying, well, we couldn't run the football. The Eagles have the number one running off or defense in the NFL. Outside the first drive, we attacked the Eagles the right way. We remained pretty much mistake-free, but we couldn't protect the quarterback well enough, although one or two of those sacks was on Dak for holding on to the ball too long. And we did not get the breaks that we needed, and we didn't have disciplined football. We had way too many penalties that cost us, that put us in a bad position to win. And when you do that, you ain't going to win. Now, Dak, he choked at the end of the day, but it's not entirely on him. The defense was terrible in this game. Now, they did okay against the rush, actually, surprisingly better than I thought they would, but they were terrible against the pass. They were absolutely terrible. They just weren't good enough to beat the Eagles. They weren't good enough to beat them. The defense was just not good enough. And then as for the offense couldn't capitalize. They had way too many times Dak stepping out of bounds on the two-point conversion was huge. Schoonmaker, of course, being short. Everything went against the Cowboys in this game. But then again, it also went against the Eagles because they got a lot of penalties on that last drive, and they almost screwed up the game too. And we didn't capitalize on it because we have an even dumber coaching staff than they do. As dumb as theirs is, ours is even worse. So, Cowboy Nation, I have nothing left to say. I mean, Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb both had good games. Even Dak had a good game. The offensive line wasn't great. They didn't have a great game. They gave up 5 sacks. That's not really good. The defense, I mean, they got 3 sacks, but they really weren't great in this game either. They were bad in pass defense, really bad. Worst I've seen them play all year in pass defense. The special teams also cost us. There were 2 drives that gave the Eagles scores in which it was on the special teams. Brandon Aubrey kicked it out of bounds. They got it at the 40. They scored a touchdown. Then what happened? Rashaan Evans gets a stupid roughing or unnecessary roughness thing. Gives the Eagles the ball at the 40, and they scored. Again, the penalties are a problem, and I've been saying it all year. And this is what cost us the game today. Outside of not getting the breaks, the penalties were absolutely terrible, and that goes back to coaching. The penalties, stupid penalties, lost us the game. They did. They did. And the Eagles almost blew it, but we shot ourselves in the foot with the penalties and the sacks. It was terrible. This is exactly what I expected, but the penalties are just bad. We got to clean up the penalties. Special teams kicking the ball out of bounds. The unnecessary roughness on the kickoff. First half were 2 big reasons. I mean, you can go back to the Dak stepping out of bounds. You can go back to Schoonmaker. But we wouldn't have been in those situations if it wasn't for those 2 penalties that led to scoring drives for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all I'm saying. Forget winning the division now. I don't see that happening. This was a game we had to win to keep in pace with the division, well, we lost it. So, winning the division, yeah, that probably ain't going to happen. So, best we can hope for is to maybe make the playoffs as a wild card. 5th seed. Hopefully we can do that. But I don't know. Anyways, rough game. Rough game. Just too many penalties, too many mistakes in critical moments. And that's what cost us the game. That's all I have to say. I'll catch you all later. Peace.